Welcome to the Bentley Systems training course where you will learn how to model and design post-tension concrete slabs and ram concept using the manual tendon workflow. In this video, we are going to be focusing on editing tendons that you've already created in your plan. We are focusing currently on our manual latitude tendon plan, which contains all of our distributed tendons for this particular model. Now on this plan, we're going to notice at the top of our layer-specific toolbars, we have a selection tool and several different manipulation tools, including move, stretch, rotate, and mirror, in order to manipulate our model geometry that was created on this plan. We're going to use each of these tools in this video to show you how you can customize and edit your plan to get it to fit with your slab geometry. Now in the last video, we spent a lot of time modeling all of our distributed tendons between grid lines 1 and 5. What I noticed while looking at this plan is that the model is symmetrical about grid line 5. Considering that, instead of modeling all of my distributed tendons on the right-hand side of my plan, I can simply mirror the tendons I created at the left-hand side to create an exact duplicate. To use the mirror command, we're first going to invoke our selection command at the top of the toolbar. With that selected, we're going to go ahead and select all of the post-tension tendons in this plan. Now currently I only have post-tension tendons selected, but if you had other items or other objects drawn on this plan, you can also use the filter icon to control your selection. With all of these items selected, I'm now going to go over to my layer-specific toolbar and select the mirror command. Now, if I mirror the structural geometry using just this command, what it will do is it'll copy this geometry over to the right-hand side of the plan, but actually it will delete the tendons at the left-hand side. If you want to not just mirror your geometry, if you want to create a copy of it too, you can simply hold down the Shift key while performing your clicks for this operation to create a copy. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on grid intersection A5 to describe the first point that I want to mirror this information about. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on E5. And this will create the line for which the copy is happening. Now you can see that all of the geometry over at the right-hand side and the left-hand side are exactly the same. Next, we are going to take a look at our two slab openings we have between grid lines 3 and 4 and 6 and 7. What we're going to notice is that our distributed tendons are running clean through the slab opening. To rectify this, we're going to use our stretch tool to move this profile point to the left and the right of the opening, thereby eliminating any tendons that are running through the opening. We're first going to start with the tendons over at the left-hand side. Using my selection tool, I'm going to select the 3 distributed tendons that will be affected, choosing one side at a time. With these selected, I can go over to my layer-specific tools and use my stretch command. I'm going to do a single click on that command, and then I'm going to select the end of one tendon that I want to move and select its new location. Now for this option, I may want to turn on one of my snap tools, such as snap to intersection, in order to move that tendon back. And I can repeat this process for the rest of the tendons at the left-hand side of this opening. And I can repeat it again for the tendons at the right-hand side. Again, selecting them first and then using my stretch tool. Now I can see that the tendons going on the right-hand side will be terminated at the edge of slab at the opening, and the same is happening for the left-hand side. If I go over to this opening, I'm going to do the same process. Select the tendons on one side and then use my stretch command. The next area we are going to focus on is the pore strip that was modeled between grid lines 5 and 6. Now, shrinkage creep and precompression due to post-tensioning can cause axial deformations in the slab. Pore strips allow portions of the structure to undergo partial or smaller deformations, thus reducing the restraining forces. Pore strips are also used as stressing axes in cases where the slab is located adjacent to existing buildings. For this particular model, we located a pore strip and we used our grid lines as access points between grid lines 5 and 6. This portion of the slab was modeled as a typical two-way slab, while the rest of the design strips were identified as post-tensioned. What we want to do is we want to ensure that no post-tension tendons are going through our pore strips, similar to the idea of our slab openings. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our stretch tool to move these tendons over to the right-hand side of the pore strip, and then we're going to use our half-span tendon panel tool to create the rest of the tendons going up to the pore strip on the left-hand side. Our first step in our process is to select all of the tendons that will be affected, and then we're going to use our stretch tool to modify the location. Once this is completed, we're going to use our half-span tendon tool, and we're going to double-click on this tool first to take a look at our properties. We're going to keep all of the properties that were previously selected, except we're going to select the elevation at N2 to be 6 inches, or basically to terminate at the mid-depth of the slab. Once we're done, we're going to click OK, and then we're going to perform our 4 clicks. We're going to click on the column at grid line E5, then we're going to click on the edge of the pore strip. Again, your snap to intersection icon should help you achieve this. And then we're going to complete that up with the last 2 clicks. We're going to use Auto Connect and Parallel, and then we'll click OK. The last thing we're going to do to edit this plan is to edit the properties of the tendons themselves. To do that, you can select your selection tool and then select any of the tendons on the plan you want to modify. You can change the elevations, the reference elevations, or any of the other properties such as the number of strands. For this model, I would like all of my strands to terminate at the mid-depth of the slab. So I need to grab all of the tendons that are terminating in the 6-inch slab. To grab any group, you can just select each one by drawing a fence around it. If you want to select more than one at a time, you would just want to hold down your Shift key. Once you have selected the tendons you want to modify, we're going to right-click and say Selection Properties. And here you can modify any of the properties. For this one, I'm going to modify the elevation at end 1 to be 6 inches from the top cover, and then we'll click OK. This concludes our process for editing our distributed tendons that were created in our latitude direction.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.